Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
We're going to kick things off with the brand new Surface Pro 3. Microsoft announced it last week. Paul Thurrott was at the event. He's, of course, the host of Windows Weekly. Took his Surface Pro 3 home, and he's been using it for the last week, and he's got a review. Hi, Paul.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for doing this a little bit extra this week.
No problem.
You and Mary Jo both got Surface Pro 3s. Have you been using it like as your main computer for the last week?
Yeah, every day. I really, really enjoy this device.
Now we should say you've used every Surface. This is the third, obviously, in 18 months. You've liked all of them. Is this the best Surface yet?
Yeah, I mean, these devices have always come with some kind of a compromise. You know, the Surface RT, Surface 2 run Windows RT, which I don't like. Surface Pro devices run Windows 8, which I do like, but they were small for a laptop. You know, the screens were small. They were kind of thick and heavy, and they didn't get great battery life. And this device pretty much addresses all of those complaints.
People are raving about the thinness of the Surface Pro 3.
Yeah, I mean, last year when they launched Surface 2, I thought, how awesome would it be to have a Pro device that was that thin, and it just seemed inconceivable. But here we are less than a year later, and we already have it.
And this isn't a compromised device in the terms of the processor. This is kind of a standard PC specs, right? Yeah,
the review unit is an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD, but you can get it up to an i7. And if you don't have as much to spend, you can get it with an i3.
How's the screen on it?
The screen is beautiful. So it's 2160 by 1440, which is kind of a strange resolution, but it's a 3:2 aspect ratio. So it's a little bit more like a piece of paper than your typical, 16:9 screen, which looks really stretched out when you put it in portrait mode. So
I can't think of
another
Windows laptop with a 3:2 screen. This is an unusual aspect ratio.
There's nothing like it. I mean, the iPad Air, iPad Mini have, I think, a 4:3 screen, if I'm not mistaken, which is close.
The only 3:2 device I know of is Google's Chromebook Pixel.
The Pixel,
They're very expensive touchscreen Pixel. And at first I use it, it felt a little weird, but it's a natural aspect ratio for paper, for working with documents, things like that.
It makes me wonder why the PC world has gone to 16:9, because 16:9 is great for movies, but how much time do we really spend watching movies on these devices?
Right. So very high-res screen. Is it 10-point multi-touch?
Yeah, 10-point multi-touch. It's got an electromagnetic pen, which is awesome. I don't personally use that kind of thing a lot, but it's got one-click access to OneNote. It's super sensitive, 256 levels of pressure sensitivity. It's beautiful. The whole thing is, it's a beautiful looking device. It's fast. It's great. I mean, it's not necessarily the first choice for a tablet. If you just wanted a tablet, I would maybe look elsewhere. But if you want a device that kind of does it all and is maybe first and foremost a great Ultrabook, I don't think there's anything like it.
That's what seemed interesting about this. That Microsoft's positioning it more as a laptop than as a tablet. It's kind of a laptop that can be a tablet if you really need it to be.
Yeah, I mean, the Pro line has always been positioned against Ultrabooks, and the RT/2 line has been pushed to tablets. But, this kind of follows that idea. It's definitely an Ultrabook first and then a tablet second. But, most of us need both of those devices. And for some people, especially people that travel a lot and really want to lighten the bag, this is a great idea.
At the launch,
I feel like I should be showing it.
Yeah, show it. Yeah, let's see it.
I mean, this is it in portrait mode. You can see it's not.
It's normal looking.
Reflective there, but it's not super stretched out.
It feels good. That's one advantage of 3:2 in portrait. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And the pen, how many buttons? Is it just a one-button pen?
So it's actually 3 buttons. There's a button on the top, and let's see if it works here. If you press it, it should go right into OneNote, and it does.
That's cool.
To a new note. And that's neat because it works above the lock screen too. So if the machine is asleep and you walk into a meeting and you want to just start taking notes, you hit the button and you're in note-taking mode immediately. And I really like that. But there are 2 additional buttons in the barrel of the pen. And one of them is for selection instead of writing, so if you want to grab things with the pen. And the other one is for erase. Instead of having the eraser be on the top, you can hold down a button and erase with the tip of the pen.
The guy who does the Penny Arcade cartoon said it's the best machine he's ever had for drawing his cartoons.
Yeah.
So that means I'm sorry, I'm going to call it a stylus. Microsoft wants to call it a pen, right?
It's a subtle distinction. I don't think we need to worry about the semantics of it. You know, there was some concern because the Surface Pro 2 and the original Pro had a Wacom stylish pen, and that had 1024 pressure sensitive levels. But this one has less. But as Microsoft is telling us, and I'm not an artist, but I just in playing with it myself, drawing and so forth.
Wait a minute. You studied graphic design. You are an artist.
I am no longer an artist.
Okay.
I have, in fact, sold a painting professionally, but let's move on to that. So the point is, I honestly, in my experience, this works perfectly well. I think this looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference between 256 and 1024 is. I don't know how you could tell the difference, frankly.
I don't think most people could.
No. Yeah. Battery life.
So I'm testing that. Microsoft claims up to 9 hours of web browsing battery life. I'm getting about 7 for streaming video. Actually, it's just video playback. It's not streaming. That's better than Surface Pro 2, but not as good as what they're claiming. I'm going to take it on a road trip this coming weekend and give it some more real-world time. But right now in the office, I've been just blasting movies through it every day and seeing how long it lasts. So
that seems pretty good,
7 hours.
frankly. That seems
it's
pretty
not
good.
bad.
So 12-inch high-def screen, the thinnest Surface to date, Windows 8.1. Let's talk about the keyboard real quickly. It still has that Type keyboard, which you snap on.
And it's a little different this time around. Obviously, it's bigger to match the device, but there's a second magnetic connection that can occur. And what that does is allow the keyboard to attach more securely to the device, and also put the typing, or the keyboard part of it at an angle.
It does this little wedge up thing.
Yeah, and it looks hokey. When I first saw that, I thought, oh, this is not going to work. You know, this magnetic type thing. I'll be pounding on the keyboard. Yeah. But honestly, the typing position is good, and the stability is excellent. I've been very surprised by that.
Panos Panay said it has lapability.
Lapability, not my lap, but that's what we're told. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's traditionally on this show we'll do pros and cons. On the pro side.
Well, pro side, it's a full PC, so you get the full Windows experience, and you get all the versatility of Windows in one box. And that means pen, multi-touch, keyboard, trackpad with gestures in the trackpad too, by the way. Trackpad is hugely improved in this release, and mouse, obviously, if you want that. The screen, I think, is the single greatest thing, and the whole form factor is just amazing. 3x2, super thin, really portable, good battery life, it seems. So I'll keep testing that one.
How's it sound?
Much less of a compromise than before. Actually, the audio is fantastic. So the speakers, Microsoft says the speakers are 45% louder, and I have to say, I only looked that up because I noticed how good the speakers were. I had music playing in my office. I thought, that sounds like it's coming out of a speaker system. It's really nice. I've actually been kind of surprised by that.
Good. Are there any cons?
Yeah, I mean, on the con side, it's still a PC. You know, so you get that kind of baloney. It's complicated. I've had issues with this device, and I think other reviewers have with power management. Microsoft says there's a fix coming there. It's a little big and a little unwieldy to use as a tablet. So if your primary directive here is to get a tablet, I don't think Surface Pro 3 is necessarily the best choice.
It's a laptop. It's really a laptop.
It's a laptop first. I mean, it can do both, but it really is that kind of Ultrabook first.
And the pricing has to be a little bit of a con. In fact, it's interesting. Microsoft, at the announcement, directly compared it. They said it's dollar for dollar the same as a MacBook Pro, which is considered to be very expensive. These are not
like saying that my Chevette is pound for pound as safe as a Volvo.
Exactly.
They're kind of expensive. So I think the i3 version, I believe, is $799.
That's the low end.
That's before the keyboard.
Right.
You know, you get a factor in the $130 for the keyboard. So you're really talking $930, which is, you know, upper end of the PC price scale. It goes all the way up to, I want to say, $1,900.
It's almost $2,000.
$50, yeah. But by the way, before the keyboard.
Right.
So it's really just under $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious machine right there, though. But they're hitting the premium end of the scale. Yeah.
Buy, try, don't buy.
If you're in the market for a PC and you want a little more than your average Ultrabook, absolutely buy.
Yeah.
This thing is really, really impressive. This is the Surface Pro I wish Microsoft had built 2 years ago.
There you go. That's the tagline, the Surface Pro I wish they'd built 2 years ago. By the way, one last note before we let you go. I noticed they're still advertising the Surface Pro 2.
I saw that too. I pointed out to my wife, we like everyone else, we skip through the commercials when we can, and it was the football player, and I stopped and I went back and I said, "Isn't that Surface 2?" And yeah, they are. So I can't excuse it or explain it, but I would just point out that this device doesn't technically go or become available to buy until June 20th, and so obviously they want to get rid of the existing inventory.
Will they sell both at any point?
Just until it's sold out. Surface Pro 2 is going away.
This is the replacement for the Pro 2.
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear. I wasn't sure if there were two different lines or this is the replacement. Paul
No,
Thurrott
this is the replacement. Yeah.
hosts Windows Weekly. He'll be back tomorrow, in fact, every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Mary Jo Foley. He writes probably the definitive Windows blog, the Supersite for Windows, at winsupersite.com, and has many books to his credit, including the latest, the Windows 8.1 book, which is at windows81book.com.
That's right.
All right. Hey, thanks, Paul. I really appreciate you doing that review of the
Nice to
Surface
talk to
Pro
you.
3. It's a buy, kids.